What's up, cool cats and kittens? Started. Hey, everybody. All right, we got that done in one fell swoop. Hold on, right sec. And then I'll be ready to rock and roll. Perfect. Let's drop this side over here. And then we'll be good to go. Great. All right, good morning, everybody. Let's just start with the basics. ES, and we'll go start with the futures. And go from there. We'll be able to bond again in about a week. It looks like this guy's going to have this new setup. I'm switching all the monitors, all the cables, everything, and I have somebody doing it. So like I have a mock setup while they're doing the other setup. Hopefully it's only like another week. But I bought all these different monitors because I want to switch off these curved monitors and all this different stuff. Anyway, they're going to set the whole thing up so I don't have to deal with it. All right, let's get to it and get to these levels. And what we want to do is just focus on the 5-minute. I think that's the most important for us to get through the day. We can obviously see how that worked and how we responded to that, like not very well at all. And then we have this here and in here. And I think that's super, super important. You got this little wick right here too that kind of like stopped you there. So we put that in. But I really think that that's kind of the way that you should be looking at it right now. I don't think that there's, I don't think that there's a reason to, I hate this thing. I hate when they do this like different color thing. Just stop it. Stop it. There's no pre and post for futures. So I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot that you need to do candidly this morning, except watch how this plays out from a futures perspective. You're kind of in limbo. You have these other little levels right here you've been hitting, but do you really need to pay attention to them? I don't really think so. I think you just kind of want to watch and wait. It's kind of where my head is. I do see a lot of this gripping to the downside. I don't know that you're going to get through that like right away. And I don't know what your catalyst is going to get, going to get you to get through that. So that's really where my view is on it. I don't see the impetus to get involved. You have non-farm payrolls on Friday that is going to be watched like a hawk. And then you have like ADP data that's going to come out this week. You got all kinds of data that you're going to have to pay attention to. But I think that's really important for people to get. Now, in regards to NQ and how that's going, I do think that looking at NQ, there's some stuff here where maybe it's a little more interesting because of the earnings. And maybe it's a little more interesting because of the earnings, maybe. But, because you still have some big earnings coming out. You hit this like a ton of bricks. And to me, it's actually more of an area than anything else, because you can see you've hit it and then you hit it again, but you're in that area. So I don't really view that as just like one thing. And sometimes that happens. So you just kind of like, I just want to know that that's there, and then kind of go from there and just put that in. Okay. And then see where it goes. And then you can make better decisions. But is that something that I've got to like rush into? Again, not really. And you can see how this became more of an area than just up here. But I don't again see the need that I have to do a lot. I really don't. I think that you have to you have to kind of watch this. You got your little wick right there. You bonked, bonk, 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 right? Bonk, 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 bonk. So you definitely want to watch that. I mean, anytime that you're hitting like 6 bonks and then it flips the bonk. So you probably want to pay attention to that little area. I mean, that's how I view it. A lot of people view it differently. You should do what you're comfortable with. So that's really where my head is with it. And I don't see a real reason that I have to panic it. I don't see a real reason I feel like I have to rush into it. I mean, what is your big impetus this week is going to be earnings on software names. You got some big dogs. And then on top of that, you also have to deal with, some of this other stuff with semis, with AVGO. But are they going to move us? I think AVGO could. I really do. I think AVGO could definitely move the market. And there certainly is that. But do I feel like I have to, I got to get in now? No, I feel that more about individual names than the market as a whole. I think there are some names here that have huge potential. And that's really what I would focus on. So I see very little questions this morning. So we're going to just jump into them for the people that are here early. I know people are like, oh gosh, he's starting early, but 8:15 is when it's supposed to start. But we're getting there. I've been saying that for a year now. If we look at what's up, Spurgy? What's going on, John? Yeah, you want to watch the auction today. I do see the Costco and I do see these names. I'm going to tell you where my head is with this stuff. I don't like these kinds of trades. Like these kinds of trades don't really work for me. The over, under, and then I can't go anywhere up. So here, let me show you what I mean, because you're gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about? God, he's rambling. So you see like where the entire move is 15 minutes, right? Like that doesn't really work for me on any level. And I saw this a lot on names. And I'm bringing this up because it's XLP, John. I don't really like that. Like, okay, well, so everybody bought and then they had enough. And you saw that here too on Alta, where, it's like the first 15 minutes and then everybody had enough. And then that was it. And I actually did this trade that was a loss, which is really rare that you're going to hit a 15-minute orb on a great trade like this and then it not go. But you held that level. But it's not great. And you're seeing a lot of this. I'll show you another, like this ELF. Like here's your 15-minute on the news from when that news hit. And then you're just in this range now. And I would watch this. The one thing I like about this trade is it's grinding higher. So if you went and looked at that 50% level from there, it's grinding higher. And I know you didn't ask about these names, but it falls into this. Come on, work with me. But it falls into this. Like, if that's all I got is 15 minutes of love, then I don't have the support that I want, right? And then I have to look at what happened at the end of the month. And they're like, now we're out, homie. And oh, okay. Well, that's not good. I've seen good before. It doesn't look like that. So where am I going with this and why is this so important? Because I do think that XLP is super interesting, but they're dumping it end of the month. They're getting out of XLP. They're not getting into XLP. And then you look at what they bought, and they bought XLK. Right. So you just start going through the sectors at the end of the day. So what I'm saying here is I would go through the sectors at the end of Friday and see which ones they had to be in versus the ones that they sold. And you might get a sense of what are they dumping, where they're trying to get, how they're trying to position themselves. And you might see that a little differently. I'm shocked by and you're down again today, by the XLY and how ugly it is, especially on that consumer data. I'm really shocked by it. But, you have Amazon and Tesla that make up a huge portion of it. And, Tesla sold like 4 cars in France. So it's not great. It's definitely an issue for Tesla. But to get back to cost, I get it. It's a great report. Do I need to buy it near this kind of doji and the breakdown? I'm not really feeling that. I'm just not. So I really want to watch how this acts. This is a real tough area because you had a lot of people that held this thing for months and months, and now they're break even. And they're like, okay, well, I said I'd wait till break even, and I'm there. So it's not really a fan favorite. If I look at Walmart, same exact thing. They're like, oh, I said when we got back to break even, from that earnings, I'd get out. So you have that area you have to get out of. There's much better names in XLP, in my opinion, to look at than that. Wing, this kind of name is interesting to me, but yeah, I do think that this is setting up pretty nicely. I was looking at this. I love names that do this, where the 12, the 22, and the 55, you can actually create a process just off of this. If you ever find, like, you could just literally, I'll just give it to you because it's so simple. But like, if you ever find an area where the 12, 22, and 55 all cross at the same area and you're a swing trader, you probably want to pay attention to that area. Like when you have 3 points of convergence like that, if you don't use the 12, 22, and 55, you should use what you're comfortable with, right? But you probably want to pay attention to that. It's a big deal. It doesn't happen like, even when you break down, you might break the 22, right? And then the 12. But when you flip them all at the same time, like, you really want to pay attention. I'm not saying you're going to go to the moon all the time or you're going to make 5% or whatever, but you want to pay attention to that. I can't stress that enough, especially coming off the bottom of a chart. It's a big deal because you have all those points of convergence. It seems to me that you have an area of interest here on that, but I would just kind of watch that area. Can you get back down to 315 and then buy it? It looks like your target's 370. So the question becomes, like, what do you get involved in from here? What is the issue to get involved in from here? I'm not really sure what it would be. So we would have to look at that and kind of go from there. But I do like that name. ELF, I have a position in. I'm not up. But I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like it. I don't think people get it yet, which is why I bought it. But I'm down in it. I bought it on Friday. But they made my life like super easy. I mean, if I take out the low of that, then I'm just going, whatever. I won't be happy. I'll be sad. But it is what it is. But I don't think people get this merger yet, the more I looked into it. So I think they're about to on next quarter's earnings. So I think you might get institutional support on that because I think institutions are going to look at it and say, oh, I don't think people get it. But we'll see. I could be wrong. What's up, Troy? Yeah, a lot of people have been trading this one. They were trading it on Friday. What I would say about it is understand where you are and then how many people are going to buy this level, which is where the 55 is. And we'll just drop a line there. We'll drop it like it's hot. That's what the kids say. And then what we'll do is we'll go here and we'll just watch that line that we dropped. And then we'll go to a basic chart and we'll see if there's any semblance of anything that's happening at that line. So here's the 55 and we're rejecting like Matumbo. We got Matumboed again here. So do I need to be, like Lewis and Clark? No, I really don't. So if you want to be the explorer, go for it. What I would do is I would wait and see what happens when this thing sells down, and then kind of go from there. I don't need to be in uncharted territory with this one. There's too many people short it, and I don't know that they're not going to pile into the short again. Maybe they're not, but that's where there are your levels. Like if you want to buy it, no one's going to ring a bell, but like ding, ding, you're at that level that you've been holding. The dojis are there. You can see where it tested, flipped. You can see it all right here. You rallied, and then you had to make a decision: up, test, undercut, grabs, goes. So the question really is like, what do you do now with it? I'm not sure you do anything with it. Yeah, I do think there's something to that. I mean, like I do watch this, and that video is going to turn into about a 1 hour video or 1.5 hour video I did on Saturday. So I didn't really want to get into it, but I actually think I have the button set and everything. It should be right here. I think I created this thing. Hold on. I'm not crazy about that now. That you're talking about this. Yeah, I'm not crazy about that. I don't really do this, like where I'll go. Do I not have it in this one? I think I do, right? There it is. So if I go here and I look at that like this, do I really care about this like that? No, not really. No, I would care more about this. So where do we find it? I care more about this. So if I break under this cloud, and then it's an area of concern for sure. And you can see it doing it right here. And then I'm starting to go sideways, and you can see this starting to go sideways. What I would take away from this, and this means way more to me from a trading perspective or like of a trend perspective, how tight I'm getting, and I already flipped back and I'm above the whole thing. So that's way more important. I think the larger issue you have to contend with is going to be the cloud, not this cloud, but the other one getting over some of these levels. And I think you really need to watch the ADL. I really do. I think that, and you just use the normal ADL. You don't need super secret special ADL. But that's really where my head is. Like the ADL just went stagnant. You just literally flatlined. And that's not great, especially when the breadth of the market is doing what it's doing, where you're above the 5-day, like here. Let me see if I lost that chart somehow. Those internets again, they got to me. I think I lost that. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. But you're losing the 20 and the 50 and the 200 a little bit. So I'd be careful there. But you could just go sideways. You can have a really, really boring summer. Like a really boring summer with very specific names moving. And I think that's going to be, I think that's where we're going. I think it's going to be up to alpha. You're going to have to pick your names. So long-term, we're going a lot higher. Like, I don't know how people can think that you're not going higher. Like if you start looking at like debt to equity ratios and GDP, remember all those people out there with Atlanta Fed, and they were talking about Atlanta Fed. Atlanta Fed says we're going to negative 4%. Remember, I don't know if you remember Jerry, remember? So here's the Atlanta Fed, just so you can see what they're saying now, right? And anyone can go to this website, but there's the Atlanta Fed now. Now the same people that were saying negative 4% and the end is nigh, and this time the market's really going down. Yeah, the Atlanta Fed's back to almost 4%. They're at 3.8, and every single investment bank took up their GDP numbers over the weekend because of personal income, but no one's talking about that because it doesn't get clicks. So I don't know, man. Show me an environment where they cut rates where you're up, 3.8% on GDP and it's rocking and you're increasing productivity through technology. I don't know, 1995, 1998. Something like that. I've been watching this guy on the internet. He keeps talking about it on YouTube. So, but short term, I think you're choppy. Alan, I don't know what you're going to do there, brother, with those names. Like, what do we now know that nobody else knows, right? And is the short position that big that it doesn't matter, like that they're just going to run up? I don't see it that way. So, like, for me, I always watch this. Like, are we going to get over the post-market levels? If I'm not, then they just handed a bag to retail. I don't walk around with a bag. So, that's how I view them. Like, why would I go near this stuff? If I was going to go near one, it'd be this one. But already, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. Like, to me, it's an outright short. If you want me to be, I'm trying not to say that because a lot of people are trading it in the community, but you can already see the RSI on it. So I got to get through that 55 up here. I use a 12, a 22, and a 55. You should use what you're comfortable with. But I'm not dipping my toe in the water there. I really don't like the fact that China or Japan is now controlling U.S. steelworkers, like at all. I just don't like it. I'm sorry. I'm just not a fan. Not at all. So I think that was a huge mistake. Flute, W pattern, CLHW pattern. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You're down 10 this morning. Something happened. I just don't trust this company like at all as far as I can throw it. So I've traded this thing an inordinate amount of times. This was like the mother of all dragon shorts. You can say it like right here, like you rallied up and failed. Like it was perfect to short that thing, like foaming at the mouth. Perfect to short that thing. You ran all the way back and you got up there, and then all you had to do was just wait for the turn. And you can actually see it. Like these kinds of charts, when you say it, man, it's just so obvious. Technical analysis is so obvious after the fact, isn't it? And you're already doing the same thing here. See it? So not for me. I can find other ways to lose money. Yeah, I got asked a lot about CoreWeave. The question really becomes, is that it? I think you got to be super careful with it now. When we started with this thing, Jay, we were looking at it back here, right? We were talking about buy these when they flip the IPO VWAP. And that's what we did. Well, a bunch of people in the room did it. I didn't even put it out as a formal alert. I had so much else going on. And then earnings were good. And then you did the earnings two-step where then you lifted and everyone said it's too high. And then it went up 50% more. These kinds of bars, to me, I tend to look at stuff like this and say that's a high. We've peaked, right? And then once I said that, what did this thing say to me? Hold my beer. You have no idea what you're talking about. Forms a doji, flips the doji, and then rips everyone's face off. You popped over, okay, on Friday, and then or Thursday, and then after popping over, you came down and you sat. What you can do at something like this, and I'm just going to point this out because I do look at this and it is important to me, and I don't always use this, but that's a negative divergence, man. And you were here and here. So I'm not a fan now. And usually what happens is, yeah, can this right itself? Yeah, it can. This is where if you're trading it, you want to be quicker. You want to be a little quicker on the uptake. So let me just show you this. See it? I think you got to watch those levels like a hawk today. See them? Okay. I think you have to watch them like a hawk today. I'm not saying you can't go higher. I'm not saying you can't retest it. You can. I just don't think that this is really where you build that position anymore. I think that ship has sailed. And it's definitely an area of interest, sure. And it's definitely an area of interest that I pay attention to, but I don't know that I have to do that right now. I'm just not sure I'd have to do that right now. So it's definitely something that again, I'd pay attention to, but But I do think when you look at this, let's take a look at this for a second, see what you're going to do. A lot going on there. That little area, don't you? You're about as irrelevant as, okay. How I say it. It's back in here. Bros, let's take a look at that. I keep getting Black Rifle Coffee. There's some of them are really good. Some of them are not really good. That's not really for me. Rejection, rejection, rejection. It's just not for me, man. I'm not saying it doesn't work. Maybe it does. It's just not for me. There's some healthcare names out there that look really good. Good morning from Tokyo. Good morning from Miami. THC. Man, this is such a monster. It's so hard to figure this stuff out. Obviously, what I like looking at with some of this stuff is like, oh, did you get it together? Earnings. And then go and see if they have like dividends. Is it the dividends? You don't even issue dividends. So it's not the dividends, but man, oh man, did they need to be in that after earnings, huh? So, wow. Like, wow, did they have to be in that? So, I mean, you got to watch the break at this point, but I don't see how you're not going higher, man. Like, I just don't see it. Like, I remember back here when they were like investigated and everything else, it was a bloodbath. So maybe you're coming back to that. That's a big level right there. You crazy kids watch this from your phones. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I can do stuff. I'm smart. Watch. You know how you know your computer's listening to you? All of a sudden, when I say I can do things, I'm smart, all of a sudden I'm getting like YouTube Godfather shorts all the time now. I'd watch those two levels like a hawk. But specifically, this level right here on that news. I remember this. Everyone thought it was going to zero. It almost did go to zero, right? It went to like $3. In 2020, you were at like $3. So, yeah. ECH. Suppose you're not, it's interesting, Jacob, because you usually come at me with a country. I don't like any of the country charts really right now. This thing's a monster. What is going on there? Encompass Health Corp. Are they like a UNH, but like not in as much trouble, or like a Humana? That's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some kind of like Humana or something like that that's in that space. That's not like the behemoth. I think they might split these companies up. I really do. I think they might actually split these companies up in the next 4 years. Did they issued a secondary? Is that what they're doing? Did it price today, or they just issued it? Just issued it. So you want to watch that. Is that upsized? Is that the initial response, Alex? I don't have any response to it. I mean, what we're told versus what's going on and all that, I don't know. So I don't have any response to that whatsoever. I don't really look at it. I know that might make people annoyed, but um, I will listen to like Bloomberg, and that's it. I don't even have like that's really it for news. Other than that, I read headlines, and I have certain like YouTube channels I'll go to if I want to really know what's going on. But other than that, no, I don't even bother with it anymore because it's so ridiculous. It's like it's actually turned into like Jerry Springer to me. So I don't know. Um, on again, off again, on again, off again. Like John, I'm over it. Gold up, oil up. Yeah. A lot of people in the futures room are trading gold and they're doing pretty well with it. I think gold does take out the highs. I really do. I don't own it that way in the futures market. I will trade futures. I don't try to talk about it a lot because I think when people see what I'm doing, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to go do that too." And futures are like the widowmaker, man. I don't think people get that. You have to like spend a lot of time. I'd rather have that green and happy. Um, but it doesn't really get more obvious to me that this is going a lot higher because, and I'll tell you why I think it's going higher. And I do think the dollar is going to drop more. And I don't know what the bond market and the equity markets are going to do about that. But you have more destabilization than you had, and it just makes sense to own gold. It just does. Also, the ratio between gold and Bitcoin is like way off. So I actually think that there's a stabilization there. Like, and, Bitcoin to me is going a lot lower, a lot lower. So, we'll see. But I think it's going a lot lower. It's a safe haven, man. It's just a safe haven. From a country standpoint, it makes so much sense to own that to hedge against what's going on out there. It just does. Like if you're a country and you're watching this and you're watching the dollar, like the dollar is going lower. I mean, for those that trade, Forex or whatever, like this is the easiest trade in the world. To me, it is. And I don't spend a lot of time going through these kinds of trades because it's not really what I do. I really am more focused on stocks, growth stocks. Like that's where I make my money. But this is probably like one of the easiest trades. Like JP Morgan's right. I think JP Morgan's right. They're like, oh, it's going to drop like $10 or 10% from here. I think they said 9, but it's very clear you're going to take out lows. I mean, I put money on it. So it's an issue. That's why you're going to buy gold. Square. I don't look at it that way because nobody wins. Nobody wins. It's all to me positioning. You have AVGO Thursday. Yeah, there's a couple guys in the room that are doing that. They're trading it this morning. I put levels out there for them. I mean, just watch. Can it go? Apparently has a huge short position. So I don't know, man. You got to watch this stuff, guys. Like you just got to watch. I'm pretty good with the level. I'm actually amazing. I can draw a level. I don't know how big that is, Hunter. I really don't. They would know it in the room. I don't know it. I don't really care that much to know it. Well, they're not cutting rates. Like if we went like this is such a good question because it's like when do rates become an issue? I don't know. When do they become an issue? Because this is a bunch of nonsense that they're going to cut rates. Go to Fed Watch. We'll do that real quick here. But the Fed Watch, if you went out to, where are we? December. Let's go to January, and I'll show you this real quick. Anybody can go to this site, but let me show you this site, and you can do this yourself. Hold on, man. because it's such a good question. Like, here's target rate probabilities for 2026. All right. There's a 97% chance that you ease by then. Now, what gets me about this is if you just look, it tells you everything right here, the contract, all of it, right? Like where you're at. To me, they're crazy because like I don't see it that way, like at all. You know, you look at where you're at on Fed funds right now versus where they want it to go. I just don't see how you have almost 100% chance of a rate cut. And you start going through this, and they're still at 95% by December. Well, why? Why are they cutting rates? Right? And just look at the numbers still. Like now I'm in October, there's an 87% chance that they're going to cut rates. Why? GDP's at 3.8% right now, they're saying. That's the estimate. Non-farm payrolls are expanding. Personal income's up. Personal savings is up. Like here, September, 71%. Like it's you know, why are they cutting rates? But something miraculously is going to happen between July, right? Something miraculous is coming that we're virtually something between July and September that's going to change the shape of how we see the world. And I'm just going to tell you, it's got to be a spike in jobless claims and non-farm payrolls. And you get non-farm payrolls this week. And I don't see it, man. Like I don't see it. And it doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean I'm right. I just don't see it. You know, great question. Hood, PLTR. PLTR, I think, is my biggest position, second biggest position now. Yeah, for some reason, people put like Hood, HIMS, and PLTR in the same category. Okay. Good morning from New York. Good morning from Miami. Higher. You're going higher, man. It's going higher. It's so obvious it's going higher. What's up, Steven? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Nuclear. I like that NNE today. Yep, please hit the like button. Helps greatly with the algorithm. I just think what you have to do is watch that level. And no, what I meant is like, I don't need to be an explorer. What I meant is I don't need to be the explorer, right? Like here, this is what I meant by it. So like here's CLF, right? And that 55 sitting right here. So this is uncharted territory above the 55. It's not getting above the 55. That's what I mean by Lewis and Clark. Like, why do I have to buy? Why do I have to go over the line? You go over the line. Like, I have no interest in that. And that doesn't mean I'm right, but that's what I meant by Lewis and Clark. Like, why would I care about being that person? There's so many other things I can make money off of today that are going to probably explode. Like, why do I have to be in that one? Yeah, that's a real problem. Yeah, you probably want to put a stop on that, or you're just going to go to zero. I can't. The amount of people that trade stocks and short stocks and don't use stops it's staggering. I like Argentina a lot. Not yet. I will. For news, I'll watch Breaking Points. I like when it's the two original people on Breaking Points. I think they do a really good job on just like being balanced. She's obviously left. He's obviously right. But I think that they do a really good job on like, hey, this is really what's going on. But it's those two that I really want to listen to. Not when they have other people on. And I know that they can't do everything. But if I want to know what's really going on, it's Breaking Points. I think they do a good job. Oh, there you go. BlackBerry's looking for a breakout, is it? We're going back to BlackBerry? Looking for the breakout. And you better wake up from that dream. I don't know how you can. The only thing that I think you can do is play the binary events. Like Jonah's point, that Jonah's got a good point. Like surely buyers are like, why are you getting in the market? Like, why are you getting in? Because ADP unemployment change is coming and you're going to get more data this week on non-farm payrolls. Like, why are you buying this market now? I think it comes down to individual name and binary events. AVGO's earnings, crowd's earnings, right? CVNA's being squeezed. Like, this is what they do. They squeeze these guys like over and over and over again. Like, it's like a slow, painful death. But like PLTR got a huge contract. It's hitting all-time highs. Like, you're probably going higher, right? That's why people buy stocks that are hitting all-time highs, blue skies. I have earnings this week. So like, it's that kind of stuff that I think you're going to see. Crowd, they have earnings this week. You're probably going to see people play that. That's where I think it is. I think it's those binary events that make it today. And then go from there. Silver, I know a lot of people play this. I know a lot of people play the silver. I don't really play it. And it just looks like it's just going to rock and roll. Obviously, it's doing that. So you can see that pretty clearly. It's just absolutely exploding and, go from there. And it looks great. So it's probably going to keep going. Gold is going to keep going too, but this looks fantastic. Someone was talking to me about this last night and I told them, like, I just don't trade it, but it does. It looks great. Probably keeps going. I don't know, man. You need to see that. I don't really understand this with the Alcoa and why it's dropping. Maybe they make their stuff somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't trade silver, man. Like, I'm just not the right person to ask about the silver trade. And I know people trade it and they do exceptionally well from it. I think if I had to pick the one thing that I'm the worst at trading at, it's probably silver for whatever reason. But this is pretty clean stuff, but I have no position in it. All right, I got to jump, guys. Trade to win.